I am making a 2D platformer and I made a big mistake. I am very bad at doing arty things and making things look nice. I do not have a single creative bone in my body. For all intents and purposes, I am boneless. Wait. A couple of videos ago, I made some backgrounds which people liked, and then I made some more backgrounds which people did not like as much. So it's time to spicy up my art skills. With some spice. So Minima is a very, well, minimalistic game. There's not a whole lot to it, and this is by design. Otherwise it would be called Complexica, and that's just dumb. Like my cat. When I first started making these background designs, there were quite a few elements. Firstly, there were different layers which for one needed something called parallaxxx. Basically, the closer the layer is to the camera, the faster it would move relative to the camera. In this case, the lower down the layers were, the faster they would move. So this layer would move faster than this one, which would move faster than this one, and I think you get the idea. Because you're all just so smart and talented, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It also had some different sprites like cacti, trees, and bamboo to make it feel more representative of nature and different environments. And don't get me wrong, I loved how these turned out. I surprised myself. I was like, what? How did I make that? I am boneless. But like I said before, Minima is supposed to be a really simple game. Not boring, but unique and tranquil in its own way. I felt as though that these background styles were just a little bit too loud and intricate for the feel that I was going for. So next I moved on to this design. It had a geometric pattern, a lot of background particles, and a very, very blurred background. Initially, the big background color thing looked like this. And then I pressed a blur button, but somehow, ruined literally everything that I was going for. And I started freaking out, and then I ate some pineapple, and it was all okay. This was the style that I ended this devlog video on, and to be honest, I wasn't completely feeling it, and here is the big mistake that I made. I ran into this whole artwork and design thing way too quickly. I didn't map out my steps in how to get to the desired style, and I probably rushed more than I should have. For hecking sakes, this is a Steam game, and I want it to be good and polished and unique, and not seem like it was made on a school laptop. You might be thinking, why are you making an entire devlog video for this one small detail? Well, with this devlog series, I want to show as much as I can about the development of Minima. It's a very small game, and so I think it's only right for me to share as much as possible. So hopefully you can get a bit of inspiration for your own projects, or just enjoy watching the game come together. So where to now, idiot Icoso? Alright, so I think that this design was heading in the right direction, except it wasn't, at all. Firstly, I took these geometric lines and just boinked them out of existence. I didn't really like them, it seemed like a lazy excuse for art, and I'm already a lazy excuse for a human, and let me tell you, it ain't fun. So now we're left with an incredibly ugly site with a lot of random dots on it. But enough about my future face reveal, let's actually start looking at the game. Firstly, I had to unblur the background. Unblur goes boo. I can't make the sound. I looked back at the previous designs and realised that the parallaxxx gave the scene quite a lot of depth and character, and so I wanted to try it out with this design. So in Photoshop, I 1. Created a gradient, 2. Crystallized it, and then 3. Painstakingly cut out each layer manually. If there's an easier way to do this, I will cry because this just hurt my soul, or what's left of it anyway. So this is how the background style came together. Overall, not too bad, but I did have higher hopes for the parallaxxx effect. I then tried putting the background together without the individual layers, and I still wasn't sure. So I spent the next 3 days just swapping between the two and seeing which one I liked better. Here's a helpful tip, by the way. When you're creating literally anything, a gameplay mechanic, a piece of art, a music track, whatever, after you create it, come back after a few hours and see if you still like it. That's what I do with my videos, and it's really helpful to see just how bad my skills were 3 hours prior. Anyway, moving on. When you look at photos of landscapes in real life, they are generally darker and more in focus at the bottom, and lighter and less in focus at the top. That's the reason that these gradients go from a darker colour to a lighter colour, unless I want to go for some sort of cave or underground feel where I might swap it around. In terms of focus, I can achieve this by adding certain layers of blur to the image. Instead of blurring the entire background like before, I decided to add the blur in a gradient sort of way. There's basically no blur at the bottom and a lot of blur at the top. And I just said like blur 8 times in 30 seconds, I'm sorry, but not too sorry because, well, what did you expect from me? So I spent a while making a lot of these background designs in a lot of different colours. Now that I'm not having these decorations from the styles beforehand, they do look a lot more abstract, but for me, that's not a problem. When you're playing Minima, I want you to just focus on jumping from platform to platform, and I think this new background will achieve it. After all of this happened, I ended up with a lot of folders in my Unity project. I had a folder named Backgrounds, a folder named New Backgrounds, a folder named New Backgrounds, and another folder named New Backgrounds. Another thing that I have to remind myself is that I can change these things at any point. Unlike a game jam, this project has no definite time limit. And so if I want to change the background style again, even though I probably shouldn't for the millionth time, I have that opportunity. And hey, I'm making a relaxing game. I think I should feel at least a little bit calm while making it. Psych, game dev isn't relaxing. Thank you for watching this video everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and a special thank you to my supporters over on Patreon, especially DerpyDino35 and Gunst. I will see you in the next video. Sorry for my nasally voice, I somehow picked up a cold in the middle of summer. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. See ya.